My name is Tembu Kimbi Solomon. Well, the current system is not working. So that's very clear. And I really don't understand how restructuring is going to solve the problem of mistrust and antagonism among the major tribes in Nigeria. So I believe that what is going to solve some of the problems is separation. Now, look at what happened in 1966, the coup of January 15th. It was considered by the North as a coup against them. You know, it was orchestrated by the people of the East, and no Easterner was killed during the coup. So they believed that it was just against the North to take power from them and to dominate Nigeria. And the North retaliated a few months later. And up to today, there is this mistrust, between especially the Igbos and the Hausas. The Igbos view the Hausas as people who want to be in power, dominate, do nothing, and just feed from government. And then the Hausas see the Igbos as people who cannot be trusted, people who are selfish, and this is a huge problem. So it's difficult to have these people to work together, in my opinion. And if it's best to separate them, then I think it's no bad idea, because it is difficult to force somebody to love the other person, to force people to live together, you know. So if the people cannot live together, then let them separate, if that will solve the problem. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Solo, for raising such an interesting and true fact. I believe that there is mistrust between the Hausas and the Igbos, so between all the different tribes in Nigeria. Now, because I believe in restructuring, I believe that there's a system, in my opinion, that can create an environment where people of different religion, different tribe could live with one another, even if they don't like each other. For me, that is true federalism. That's what restructuring means to me. And I'm going to give you a quick example with Canada. Canada is hugely divided between the French Canadian and the English Canadian. Both of these tribes, if you would say, were bitter at each other from the founding, from when they started living together. And this bitterness was contained at long last by autonomy, by giving French and Canadian um, people the ability to govern themselves at their region. And this is what restructuring is about, with the individual as a sovereign, right? So there's a system out there that an Igbo man and a Hausa man can actually live together, even if they don't speak to each other, even if they don't like each other, even if they don't worship the same God. Now, that doesn't mean separation isn't an option, right? Like I've said earlier, I support restructuring. So, my objective would be to convince people who believe otherwise of the possibility of a system that people of different origin, of different beliefs, could live with one another. So that is why I'm giving you these examples. So now the question is to you, if there is a system out there that can create an environment where different people of different beliefs could live with one another, would that be something that is worth the time and the effort for Nigerians to try?
Well, Adamu, if there is a system, as you say, that can get um, the different tribes in Nigeria to live together, well, it is something worth trying, of course. But I really don't know where it has worked before. I don't know much about Canada, so I cannot. I only know that we are the only two bilingual countries, Cameroon and Canada, that have two official languages. Apart from that, I know very little about them. But if the United States is an example, I don't think it's a very good one, because we hear about the racism, we hear about the killings, we hear about white supremacy. So sometimes I begin to wonder if these things really work or they just work on paper. It is hard, really, to get people who have sworn to not be together to try to put them together. And I think if they prefer to be separated is not a bad idea in my opinion. But if there is a system, as you say, that can make it work, then it's a better. I believe in unity in diversity. I believe that we're stronger together, really. But why I think separation is better is if the people don't want to agree, then it's we cannot force them. You know, if you have even the scripture says, as far as it depends on you, follow peace with all men. You see, so if it depends on these people, then because whatever system you bring, they have to respect the system. If they don't, then it becomes very difficult for the things to work out the way you hope them to work out in the end.
I agree with you. It is difficult to make people of different religions, languages, and so on and so forth to live together. I mean, there's this saying in my language says sometimes an individual fights with his tongue. You know how sometimes you bite your tongue by accident? So that is just you alone, let alone someone, even if it is of everything. Let's say a replica, let alone that is, we know that doesn't exist. Every person on earth is different from every person on earth. So 100% agreement um, is uh, is something that will never exist, that has never existed. So the question now is, which country? Let's take Nigeria and United States. Which country are doing a lot better? Obviously, the United States. Their economy is better. They have free speech compared to the free speech in Nigeria. As you might have heard, the Nigerian government banned some songs uh, from the public by some musicians. So my point is, I absolutely agree with you that achieving uniformity is difficult. Um, but there is a system out there that, despite the differences, it will not prevent you or someone else from enjoying higher quality of life, e.g., the United States, Canada. Um, so really, is which system would you choose? Which one is better? And I think the answer there is clear. And I also think that there is nothing wrong with separation. If Oduduwa, that is the Yoruba people, want to have Oduduwa, I think is justified because that's what they want. The same thing with the Igbos, the same thing with the Hausas and any other ethnic nationality identity. in Nigeria. So I agree with you there. Also, I believe we are better together. We will we'll do a lot better together. That is one of the major reasons why I started this show, to start convincing people that there's a system out there that could solve these issues, could give us a solid moral, ethical foundation to solve the issue and to have the tools available to us to quench other issues that will come as a result of differences. But if all this is said and done and people want to separate, absolutely, absolutely. So right now, um, my own um, my own opinion is I should continue to engage people that want to separate, to tell them, hey, this separation isn't the problem. How you design your system is the major problem. You could have a country made up of only one tribe, but still be facing problem. For example, Haiti and the Comoros Island are one of the least diverse countries on earth. But Haiti is one of the poorest, probably poorer country than Nigeria. So my point here is being less diverse and more diverse isn't the problem. At least it's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the way you design your system. To conclude, I think both you and I agree that if people want to separate, let them do. I think that is really, really important for Nigerians to understand that. We know the terrible, terrible things that have happened because people aren't allowed to separate, to form their own country. One example is South Sudan and Sudan, while they were under the same country. So, what do you have to say to wrap up your thought as regards to this whole issue of restructuring, separation, or the status quo?
Well, in a nutshell, Adamu, I think the choice between the status quo, separation, and restructuring, it lies in what the root cause of the problem in Nigeria is. There is we have to look at the specificities. We have to look at the peculiarity of the problem to understand that, well, separation might not really solve the problem if it wasn't what caused it. So it's important for us to look at where we're coming from to understand how we should make this choice. So in my opinion, at the moment, let the will of the people prevail. But I stand for separation. Thank you very much, Adamu, for the opportunity to lend my voice to this issue.
Thank you for listening to The Tongue is Mightier Than the Sword. The goal of this audio series is to encourage Nigerians to embrace the power of dialogue as the best and only acceptable method of political, economic, and social change in the country. To participate in the program, reach me on my WhatsApp number +1 319 296 5799 and tell me if you think Nigeria needs separation, restructuring, or the current system. On behalf of my guest, I'm your host and producer, Adamu Muhammad Dankore.